Okay. Installing this thing right here. I can tell you right now, it's not fun. So, with the clutch master, all right, it's actually located back in there, all right, behind everything. You want to start by unbolting your reservoir here. If you have the stock plastic lines, this is not going to be fun because it routes down underneath. Now, this one already had the metal one replaced, but they had some issues when they had it installed down there and ended up breaking it. So we're fixing this up. We're replacing it with a new one here. And hopefully, I think this already has the upgraded rod, but there's your factory style rod. It's kind of hard to see through. And it does come with a couple instructions. All right, centering the length, blah, 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 okay. Now, the reason why I say this is so bad when it's a stock line is it runs straight down, goes down underneath this, all right, then feeds up across the top of the trans here. Now, it's really tough to get that up out so that you can get to the point where you're removing that lower part of that. Now, I've also had removed, like loosened the bolts on the master cylinder and the reservoir and stuff and the booster, and you could like kind of get it to kick over a little bit so you can get that out, as like I said, it's really tight. Up underneath, in behind the dash, you can follow it up through off of the clutch pedal here. You'll see the push rod, there's two bolts, or there's two studs that come through with nuts up here. You got to get up in there with a ratchet or whatever. There's not much room. You might have to use a couple swivels. It's very tight up in there. Like I said, not a fun thing to replace. And then I'm just going to assume here, like I said, this is the new style clutch master setup. I'm going to leave this up this way, standing up, because air rises through liquid. So when I open that, once I get everything together, and hopefully I can get the liquid to force down through, I don't have anyone to help pump today, so I'll probably end up putting a vacuum on this with a little hand vacuum pump to try to pull it through, and hopefully that works to get this thing bled out. All right, well, there's your pedal right over here. Yeah, can't even get it in there. Right over here is supposed to be where the bolt is, with the nut that you need to remove, and then right above it is another one. But this car has lots of unknown extra mess down here in the way. So this is what I got set up. I'm gonna get onto there, get these two out, and then we can pull the master out into the engine bay and get it swapped. All right, some prying, some pulling, pushing this end that way so that this will come past the booster. Not exactly fun. So this is what we got here. So we need to remove this, and if you look, it looks like this looks like it's in here on an angle almost, and that should be straight. You can kind of maybe see it, but give it a little push to get it out, and well, we'll get the new one in here. All right, so we drove out the pin, which came out pretty easy. The line actually unscrewed here pretty easy, but you can see we've got a little bit of crushing right there. And inside, we have damage to this. And if you look at that, it's actually bent. So we're going to need a new one of these to be able to reinstall this. Alright, now you can take a look here. If you look really close, you've actually got a crack here. And it's definitely junk, along with this. So the reservoir we need, and we'll put it back in when we get the rest of the parts. All right, guess we'll see what else we can do. All right, well, luckily I have my own supply of parts for my car, so I ended up stealing one off of my clutch line to be able to install this and get this done so we're not waiting on another part. All right, so right now I'm working on getting that lined up through the holes. The bracket that holds everything is kind of the holes here in the firewall, and then the other hole is in behind it with my one finger there. See, there's the hole, and then here's the other piece that's in behind for the bracket that holds the wiring. It's kind of covering it, so I'm trying to get it to push out of the way at the same time, since I'm trying to do this by myself. It's always best to have two people when you're doing this one. So, but anyway, everything's installed. I just put a little bit of brake fluid, slid the fitting into the bottom of the new master, pin slid right through, boom, done, ready. We do have to install the reservoir that's now on the floor into this, but I'm letting it off so that I can get down in here. There is a lot of added extra stuff in the way with this giant wire, and the way just everything is laying down in here to be able to fit this thing in, just making everything so much more complicated. But we're gonna get it. All right, Rezzy's on. This thing was bubbling up when I pulled it out. There's a little tiny bubble. So we do have some fluid in there. I'm just going to set this off to here and then stick a rag around it and just let it go, because it's not going to hurt nothing. And I have to flashlight, get back in here the push rod, VCR style one, right here. Get in here. It's always bad when you're underneath these. Okay. So it's hanging right there. I loosened it down just to see if I get in. I actually got to pop it off, and then I can reinstall it. It's going to need to be adjusted anyway, regardless, because we're changing basically everything with the, like, it's not a fork or anything anymore, so that adjustment will be different. So I'm going to pop that little E-clip off, and then we'll pump on this thing a little bit, and hopefully we get it bled out. All right, so clutch is in. It goes into about here, and then there's very little movement toward the bottom of pressure. So that stuff, that's in, that's taken care of. Now I am working on, well, we got some grounds connected. I just powered up the fuel system. Everything seemed to work out okay. There was a little leak right here at the filter, and I just loosened and retightened up my line. But that is all good. I got to put 2 more zip ties back on. Everything with the fuel system's doing what it's supposed to do. Pretty much down to right now, I'm gonna get rid of this. Pretty much right now down to seeing if this battery has enough charge to crank this engine over, to see if we can get some oil through the turbo. So I guess I'm gonna try that now. Let's see what happens. Alright, I'm gonna pull my fuel relay. I already have the coil is unplugged. Alright, but I don't want this thing to start. See what happens if we try to crank it over. They weren't getting anything before because they didn't have any ground wires. So let's see if we have a sufficient hookup with the relocation to the truck. Alright, once the crank, I think at this point, there's no sense in me having my heat on. With this hood exit, I'm going to open the doors and see if this thing fires up. It does have some new plugs in it. They were just gapped at 32 for a good start. Alright, we got our coil plugged in. We're going to reinstall our fuel relay. We're going to cycle our key 3 times, get some fuel pressure build up. We're going to see if this thing runs. All right, starts, runs, flaps, ting, ting, ting. The clutch will need bled out some more. I did try to put it in gear. It kind of went in while it was up in the air, which I felt that that wasn't, I was like, I got happy for a moment. And then I was like, nah, put your foot on the brake, push in the clutch, then try to put it into gear. It didn't want to go in. I didn't force it. So we definitely don't have enough clutch disengagement. I'm going to try bleeding this cylinder out just a little bit more. And hopefully we can get something straight there. Our coolant is going to need topped off some more. We know we don't have any fuel leaks. I don't see any oil leaks down here. So I can probably get the heat shield installed on there also. I still need to get the piping run and the rest of the vacuum line run for this boost controller. I do need to find couplers for this pipe. They're just not with this car. So the goal right now is to just do a couple things. I really need to move this thing out. I've got to get on the other car that's here. The parts are sitting here waiting to go on this thing. I got the tune. I believe the tune's come and it's ready to load. So we've got this here. We got it installed on a car. It's stuff's been sitting outside. I've just had a lot of other stuff happening that needed to took precedence of my time over being out here in the garage. One, man, come on, look. It's cold right now. All right, heat's running. There is snow on the ground, and they are calling for some more, so it's kind of a harsh February right now. So, I'm going to get this thing to the point. Hopefully we can pull this thing out. I'll let you guys see that, and the couple things that I end up finding. Maybe I'll touch off on what I needed to do to bleed this out if that's what worked. And maybe I can get one of these charge pipes to work while it's up in the air. I got to throw a couple zip ties on. We'll see this thing pull out, watch it run a little bit more. And yeah, it's gonna happen.